Right, and then they wanted slots, and Weicker got a percentage of the slots. Is that true?
Yeah, good evening, Bill.
Good evening.
It is true. When Foxwoods opened in 1992, they had everything a casino offers except slot machines. And the reason for that is because Connecticut allowed churches and charities to offer every one of those kinds of games except slots.
Except for slots.
And the thing was, Connecticut couldn't tax the casino, and the casino couldn't put in slots, and the casinos are the mother's milk slots are the mother's milk of casinos.
Right.
So Foxwoods went to Governor Weicker and said, look, we'll give you 25% of our revenue on the slot machines if you'll give us exclusive rights to have slots. And the governor signed that deal. And so Connecticut started to get $100,000 a year, roughly, from Foxwoods slots machines starting in 94. Now, both Mohegan and Foxwoods have a slot deal with the state, which allows them to have slots and no one else can get them, and in return, Connecticut gets 25% of the take.
Which is peanuts compared to what they should be getting.
It's peanuts because they get that comes out to a grand total of $400 million a year. And on the other side of it, those two casinos generate about $2.5 billion a year. And that's really the crime here, is that the state can't touch that. All they get is a drop out of what's coming out of the slots.
Can I ask one more question?
Quickly, Bill.
What about the people that are employed by the casino? What about the advantage to the people that would be working there? Doesn't the state take money off of their paychecks? I live 10 minutes from where they want to put this place up, and I don't know whether it's a good idea or not. I see up at Foxwoods hundreds of thousands of people going in there, and they're not only gambling, they're buying food, they're buying shirts and other things that they're doing. I don't know whether it's a good idea or not.
Well,
I'm just saying that it produces a lot of jobs.
Well, good point, and let me answer it. I'm glad you raised it. You said two things. How do the workers feel? Well, think of this. These are the only two facilities in the state of Connecticut where labor laws don't apply to employees. It's a horrendous situation, which is why those two casinos have the highest job turnover rate of any place I know in the state.
Do those people have to declare that income on their income tax?
Oh, absolutely. The workers pay taxes. There's no question about that. There are taxes assessed to the employees, not to the employer. But in terms of the labor standards, these are people that don't have protection of labor law. And the other thing is, yes, people go there and they do things besides gamble. They shop, they eat, they drink, they get entertained, but all of those things happen inside the building. That does not help businesses in the neighboring community. In fact, it suffocates them, which is why so many businesses in our part of the state, where the two casinos are, have gone out of business because they can't compete with what's offered inside the casino. I'll give you an easy example. A steak dinner inside the casino can be offered to you for $5 at the buffet. If you have to go outside the casino to a nearby restaurant, they charge you about $18 for that. It's almost impossible for a restaurant to compete with that.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. We're going to try to squeeze in a couple more calls. Unfortunately, we have such limited time, Jeff Benedict, but we'll get right back to you. And this subject, ladies and gentlemen, it is important.
$1.5 billion gross?
Well, between the two casinos, it's closer to $2.5 billion gross.
Okay. How much does the General Electric Company of our state give to the state in taxes each year compared to their gross income?
Which company?
General Electric.
I have no idea.
No idea?
Nope.
And yet you present the casino's contribution to the state as rather bad, without knowing, for instance, what another commercial enterprise contributes.
Well, you're just talking about corporate income tax. I'm interested in, General Electric, as far as I know, doesn't run restaurants and bars and concerts.
What of it?
Well, the casinos offer all those, and those are all taxable entities in this state.
So?
So I'm saying that the fact that they escape all of those taxes, not just the corporate income tax, is something that those are major potential sources of revenue to the state that we don't get. I think
the state of Monaco doesn't contribute anything to Connecticut either.
Who doesn't?
The state of Monaco.
Well, the state of Monaco isn't running businesses in our state.
Oh, well, just because it's in our state?
That's right.
Why should they, just a minute, Wallace, why should they be concerned, why should anybody be concerned with what goes on in Monaco?
For the same reason they might be concerned with a small foreign country in the United States. Monaco is within the boundaries of France.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
No.
Are you involved? Are you one of these phony Indians that claims he's a member of the Pequot tribe?
No. No, I have no Indian.
Well, then what is your problem? You obviously have a problem.
My problem is that I live in Connecticut. I followed the casinos closely, and I consider Mr. Benedict very biased in all his writings and speeches, and I think you ought to consider that.
Have you read his book? He lays out a compelling case.
Yes, there's been considerable controversy about it. And I think you should have one of the Indian chieftains come down on your program one day.
Oh, I think he should too, but good luck getting them to come on.
Well, all right. Okay. Jeff Benedict, you never know who's going to call. That's what makes the Bob Grant program so compelling. And I want to thank you for joining us. I have a hunch we'll be talking again in the not-too-distant future. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Bob.
Folks, the name of the book, Without Reservation, and it's published by Perennial Books. Let's get back to our telephones. And a very vexing problem, and that is, what in heaven's name are we doing turning large tracts of land over to a bunch of people who, up until recently, were just Americans, subject to the same laws, subject to the same taxes, subject to the same problems as the rest of us. But some of them showed that they had a little trace of American Indian blood, and suddenly that made them the exalted ones, a special category. In effect, as you heard the caller from Waterford, he said, well, they're not really subject to our laws because they're not American citizens. Well, what the heck are they? And what are they doing in the United States? I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't blame them. They're taking advantage of our lunacy. Let's say hello to John from his car in Stamford, Connecticut. Yes, John.
How you doing, Bob? It's a pleasure and an honor to talk to you tonight. Bob, I just want to say that I drive every day from New Haven to Stamford and Stamford back to New Haven. And I got to tell you, I've been doing it for 15 years. We're paying for these roads. This whole state is carried on the backs of guys like me out there working every day for $1. You know, it's my money that maintains these roads. And meanwhile, I got to sit in the traffic on a Friday night with all out-of-state plates, and for years it's burned me up that these guys haven't put a dime back into the state.
You're talking about the so-called Indian tribes.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Bob, I've been up there, not to gamble, to visit the museum, and I'm going to tell you, Trump is right. They don't look like Indians to me. And, you know, they're living the high life, but yet not a dime is coming back towards it. All right? It's all on the backs of guys like me out there with a house, a couple of kids, busting their hump every day, sitting in traffic. And a lot of that traffic, like on a Thursday and Friday night, that's where it's going. All out-of-state plates, Bob. It's crazy. It's crazy. And now they want to open up another one in Bridgeport. They got big. I just drove by a billboard in Bridgeport. They have a whole bunch of land out there.
Well, isn't that the one Steve Wynn is proposing to open, a casino there?
Yep.
Huh?
And I'll tell you, it's going to crush.
But, you know, Steve Wynn is not an Indian, at least the last time I looked.
You're right, Bob. You're right.
But, it's all a lot of nonsense. It's all a lot of double talk. And the fact of the matter is that we're all getting screwed. We really are. It's a terrible thing.
Well, I heard that there was some kind of, like, late night or backdoor thing that happened. I'm not sure the story on it, but there was some kind of in the Senate or the Congress. Yeah. I'm not really sure of the story, but it was like some late night backdoor deal when this.
That was the one maybe with Lowell Weicker. But remember, I tell you, the so-called Mashantucket Pequot people aren't Mashantucket. They're not Pequot. They're not Indian. And even if they were, why would that make it right? You know what I mean?
Oh, hey, I know what you mean.
And by the way, how does this grab you? These so-called Mashantucket Pequots have contributed to the Democrat Party. Now, if they're not Americans, what are they doing? What are they doing contributing to an American political party?
There you go, Bob, and I'll tell you something. I'm sure there was shopping bags of money going back and forth over there just like it was to China.
Well, it's easy to have shopping bags of cash when you're operating the way they operate.
Yes, sir. You got it. You got it, Bob.
Thank you very much,
Bob.
John. I'll think about you. I'll think about you every Friday when you're stuck in that traffic, John. I have a lot of bonus for people like you. Straight ahead, ladies.
I just wanted to mention something about the casino issue. A problem that I have with it is that a lot of senior citizens in our state of Connecticut complain that they're on a fixed income, but yet they are completely addicted to going to the casinos and spending all their money, and they're losing it, and they're not doing themselves any good. And I think that's a real problem that I guess people with addictions have, but I don't know what the Indians have to say about that.
Well, they couldn't care less. They don't care as long as the people throw their money away. Maybe there's some seniors who are smart. Like I know, for example, seniors from, say, Tom's River. Just for example, I'm not picking on Tom's River, but they got a bunch of seniors that get on the bus and go down to Atlantic City. They get an allowance, I don't know, $12, $15. And they go down there and they enjoy the buffets. They walk around and then they come back. So maybe a lot of these seniors are going there and taking advantage of the fact that the so-called Indians don't have to compete and can undercut the real Americans. Mm-hmm. And as you heard Mr. Benedict say, get a steak that would cost $18, get it for $5. Maybe
right.
That's what they're doing. Is that possible?
I think in some cases, but the people that I've heard that have been going there, they'll say, well, I'll go, and I only lost $150, but they do it 2 and 3 times a week, but yet they'll.
How could they lose $150 2 or 3 times a week? You're talking about $300, $450. These
Sure.
must be pretty well-to-do people.
No, there are people that like skimp and save on other things, but as far as the casinos go, that's their main entertainment.
Look, you can't forbid them. You can't say you can't get in because you're a senior. So why are you taking up the cause of the seniors? Why are you dwelling on that?
Well, because my parents are 2 of them, and every time they go, they say, well, I lost my shirt, but I'm going to go again.
Well, are they enjoying themselves?
They do.
Well, God bless them then. At least they're enjoying themselves.
You're right, Bob. Okay.
Now, don't worry. Your inheritance will be there. It may not be as much, but it'll be there.
I wasn't really worried about that. I just wanted to voice that opinion because I do know, I think it is a problem.
Well, I think you're right, but I see no solution, dear.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Okay. Hey, Ben in the car. Go right ahead, Ben.
Bob, am I right in saying that these Indians get a right to vote? So what's this argument if they're not American citizens? They get to choose who's going to be in office, but they don't have to pay for it? I mean, am I the only one seeing this argument here?
I mean, there's an old saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Get this, you can if you're a member of the Pequot tribe.
And Bob, why not come out and say what this argument is all about? We don't owe these Indians anything.
No, we
don't owe them. So let's just make it clear. It's over. It's been hundreds of years. Let's make it clear. Let's not be politically correct.
You know what it is?
We don't owe you anything.
You know what it is? It's those ultra-liberals who hate America, who've been making movies. I mean, even a movie like Dances with Wolves. I mean, you see that, and the Indians are portrayed as such noble, wonderful creatures, and the white man like such a horrible alien from another planet. And guys like Kevin Costner, people like that, liberal ninnies, they go ahead and continue to produce this propaganda.
Well, Bob, as long as the liberals can buy their votes from these Indians, that's the way it's going to be.
It's no accident that this tribe gives money to the Democrats. Why? Why? Huh? Anyway, I think
that's how the Democrats get their votes. Republicans get their votes from honest people. Democrats have to pay for their votes. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Okay, I thank you very much. And you don't see this guy, what's his name? Blumenthal, I think the state's attorney. What does he do? Hey, he's getting money from them. I'm sure he's a Democrat.